Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be watching a new video by Critical talking about Donald Trump that has gone viral on social media lately. You've got pretty much all of the magosphere right now freaking out at Critical, particularly because he did recently come out and blatantly call what the ICE agent that murdered Renee Good did murder. You know, he just said it as it was. And conservatives got really mad, claiming that he was being ignorant or being naive. You know, it was very funny, because you can tell that a lot of these people glaze Moist Critical, and now that he's demonstrated he doesn't have the same politics as them, they're like, what the fuck, man? Whoa, what's wrong with you, bro? This is so disappointing, man. Like, they're so desperate to have popular, well-liked people on their side. It's always so funny to see them plead with someone who they know they can't, like, really affect the success or popularity of, as they try to, like, beg them to see their side and be on their side. Like, conservatives are a lot like Scientologists, you know? Like, they want celebrities and popular people in their movement because it launders it and makes it look appealing. Anyway, we're apparently Critical put this out, just straight up calling Donald Trump what he is, a pedo. Like, our president is a pedophile, and frankly, it would seem Moist Critical and many other Americans are pretty tired of pretending that he's not. So I'm here today with my buddy Rince. We have been playing Big Hightail together, in fact, having a great time. So why don't you introduce yourself, Rince? I guess say hello. I think people here probably know you pretty well at this point.
They already know me. The intros are unnecessary. What's up, chat?
Exactly,
I'll tell you this much, Zan. I am honored to be on this very politically correct stream. No, dude, straight up, I am so glad that we get to witness this together. Just like the fucking, just like the normies finally, like, waking up. Because let me tell you something, Critical is a good gauge for, like, you know, where the normies are at. Like, don't get me wrong, sure, there's, like, you know, some, like, chuddy supporters of him. But, like, generally, though, he is, like, a good gauge for where, like, you know, the whole, like, just, you know, crowd of normal, like, people that don't really, like, involve themselves with like anything political too much, which, to be fair, I'm not saying you're weird if you are into politics, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a good gauge for where everybody's at socially that isn't within our space.
Generally, people who are into politics tend to be weird in my experience. Let's be real.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. I was sugarcoating it a little, but yeah, if we're being real here,
let's be real, man. Let's be real. Let's lock the fuck in, though. So, in all seriousness, though, if you end up enjoying the video, please do consider leaving a like and a comment down below. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you're new here and want to see more from me. It really does help the channel a lot if you do comment and subscribe, though, so I appreciate it. Hit that like button as well, and without any further ado, I hope you're ready, Rince, because we're getting right into it. Let's see what Charlie had to say about Trump that's got everybody molding.
Look closely in the palm of my hand. To the untrained eye, it may appear empty, but you have to use your third eye to see the truth. What lays before you in the palm of my hand, my little greasy bear paws, are the Epstein files.
True!
Nothing. It's imaginary. Because this administration still refuses to actually comply with the law. Even when they did release, like, their couple of batches of...
Dude, I love that he is actually, like, fairly, like, tapped into what's going on, you know? He's not just a memer, or like, an apolitical guy. Like, he clearly cares about what's going on, and I like that. He keeps himself informed and knows what's up. I think I remember something about him trying to run an esports team a little while ago, and getting just hit by roadblock after roadblock that were just absurd in trying to get his esports players into America on completely, like, approved, like, good visas and everything for the sake of competing in this esports event, and they just weren't allowed in. And I think Critical said he was going to sue U.S. immigration for that. So I have no doubt that right now a lot of what's happening has perhaps radicalized Critical even further against the Republicans and conservatives in general. I gotta say, having Critical as someone out there calling this shit out is definitely not nothing. Oh my...
I will say...
I came up right into guy in his house.
Yeah, let's, yeah, okay. That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, don't do that to my house, Dan. You might end up in the... Actually, it would be funny if it happened to my house, because you genuinely might accidentally just drain the pool. Or, like, not even drain the pool, like, flood a cave, knowing how water physics are.
Yeah. But that said, though, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it.
Epstein files, they also didn't comply with the law because they redacted names that weren't victims, which has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. And now it's been, what, a month past deadline, and they are still kicking the can down the road. And now, like a bucking bronco, they're putting up a real fight where now the DOJ is basically saying in their most recent filing that no court can order them to release these Epstein files. They can't force the release. They're basically...
For those who don't know, the DOJ is meant to be a nonpartisan organization, but Donald Trump has blatantly weaponized it, replaced everybody in said organization with partisan hacks that are all bending the knee and kissing the ring. So now even the organizations whose job it is to oversee the organizations that oversee the president, those people are now Trump cucks. So legitimately every avenue of government right now, besides, I guess, Congress, is fighting to defend Donald Trump's right to do what he did with Epstein.
Gloating that they're kind of above the law is the impression I get from reading through this. Now, a lot of it's legalese, so a bit of it's a bit above my pay grade, but from everything I've read from the experts who have went through this filing, this is the DOJ once again refusing to cooperate and is now just kind of outright saying that no one can really force them to do this. It's fucking sickening. What is supposed to be the most transparent administration in American history seems to have a real issue with transparency when it comes to the Epstein files for some fucking reason. Really
I mean, we had that one leaker, that guy that was caught on, or not caught on video, but was recorded saying that if we get the Epstein files, they will come out severely redacted because every Republican mentioned will have their name blacked out. And sure enough, we see a sea of black in the Epstein files. And meanwhile, we've got Republicans furiously arguing, oh, no, those are just the victims' faces. Sure.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, no,
Sure.
and also, by the way, like, transparency, I think a reason this whole, like, I think people get confused, and we need to, like, deprogram people out of this. The administration isn't truly transparent. They just spam bullshit on Twitter. When people realize that, they're finally going to understand,
loud.
like, yeah, they're just loud. Loud doesn't equal, like, you know, transparent, right? Because I've seen some of the clips where Trump's addressing the Epstein files, and let me tell you, it's got to be some of the most fucking, like, sickening shit I've ever seen. It's just, Epstein files? Why are we still talking about this creep? Why are we still... Because you're the fucking creep, genius. You know what I mean? That's the whole, like, just deflect, right? That's all it is, all right? You don't need, a proper fucking, like, you don't need 200 IQ to understand this chat. Anyways.
Yeah. And you know what? Critical is doing a great job of making people who otherwise probably don't really care about politics all that much care about this, because the Epstein files, Epstein as a concept, all this has, like, transcended politics. Charlie Kirk and his assassination has transcended politics. We're seeing people begin to take interest in politics again as a mainstream thing. Like, the reason why the left really took off in those years at the early 2020s and, like, late 2010s was because the mainstream, like, culture started to, like, use left-wing political things as like a point for memes. You know, you had femboys were like a massive meme, and you had, like, trans furries or whatever were a big meme back then. Like, just a lot of left-wing culture things were popular memes broadly at the time. And I feel like we're going back into a time like that. You've got people like Charlie talking about how, you know, the Epstein files are being covered up by Donald Trump. You got everyone making memes about how, you know, very much at the expense of Charlie Kirk, because it's funny to see how conservatives get all upset about it. So it just feels like making fun of Charlie Kirk and attacking Trump for not releasing the Epstein files. These are, like, mainstream things. This is not like a lefty political thing. This is just what people do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and making fun of Palantir, too. Don't forget that one. Palantir.
Yeah.
I love the Palantir memes. Like,
and
I gotta send you an
out-
image later.
Calling out private interests in politics as well, whether it be, like,
Exactly.
AIPAC or even just general lobbies of certain industries like oil and coal.
Yeah. I actually saw, like, a meme earlier. It was like, and by the way, my Instagram and, like, just my social media feeds are just filled with this now. And mind you, these aren't usually, like, the spaces I go to on my social medias. Not typically. But, yeah, fucking Literally, it's just all over the place now with like hundreds of thousands, millions of likes, and it posts like this exact one. It's when you're talking about the big Yahoo in like 2026, but then like a Palantir drone like Loki comes to Kirk your shit. It's like shit like that is like mainstream now. Like everybody's aware of what's
Oh
going
yeah.
on, which is really nice. I mean, because it is true. Like Palantir's cooking up some shit that's probably not good, and yeah. All the shit. I'm just glad that people are finally understanding and we don't look crazy anymore. Because, Zan, you remember a year ago we were trying to tell everybody, and everybody was like, nah, y'all are crazy, fucking libcuck, political, what was it? Political retards, polititards, you know what I mean? Now it's like, now we're right. Oh, why is everything so expensive? Why is there no transparency? We told you to vote for Harris, buddy.
People are finally forgetting about the cringe that BreadTube turned into. And they're starting to really become upset with the state that the right has put America into. And, you gotta say, it feels kind of cathartic.
Makes you think, doesn't it? And speaking of thinking, I want to turn my attention to someone who hasn't had a thought in years. Pam Bondi. She farted out a super strong statement on Twitter that's no nonsense. A reminder to all those in Minnesota, no one is above the law. Mic drop moment. Literal chills. Scam Bondi here is alting. She's really laying it all on the table. But, let's be honest here, Pam. That's not exactly true now, is it? Because there are clearly people who are above the law. It's anyone that's associated with Jeffrey Epstein and the client list. Really, Pamela, it kind of makes me wonder if this could be an actual defense strategy people could employ. Like just claiming that they're on the Jeffrey Epstein client list. I wonder if that would just give them full immunity. Because I imagine it'd be like activating God mode in a video game, because this administration, they won't pursue shit if that's the case. So saying that you're on the Jeffrey...
I love that this is the most charitable interpretation of what the Trump administration has been doing with their handling of the Epstein files. The most charitable interpretation is that they are incompetent in pursuing anybody that is implicated. But the least charitable interpretation, which is what I think a lot of people will be inclined to err towards, considering all the evidence and all the context, is that Donald Trump is himself implicated by the Epstein files and is covering for himself. And so are all of these politicians that are taking part. Either way, it looks really bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a bad look. But like I said, I'm just glad that people are finally waking up. They've gone woke. Okay, everybody's gone woke. All right,
everyone's going woke again. Woke is back.
Yeah, you know what's funny? It is pretty ironic, Zan, that like some of like the big social media accounts. I don't know if you've heard of this one, but one's called like End Wokeness. I mean, isn't that kind of funny? Like, stop being woke. They're literally telling you to your face, stop being aware, stop thinking. Right? Like, this is some shit that, like, Alex Jones would have freaked out about if, like, he had a spine. But we all know he doesn't. But, like, dude, I mean, like, they're literally telling you not to be aware. The red flags, they're bound to, like, throw up for some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the obvious doesn't stand out. It's like when people thought, like, when people were openly opposed to political correctness, as if that was a dirty word. Like, stop and think about the word political correctness for a moment, or the words political correctness for a moment. Does that really seem like the kind of thing you should be fighting? But they have to pretend like the obvious isn't true. You know what I mean?
It's obvious, bro.
Jeffrey Epstein client list, that's like Harry Potter putting on the invisibility cloak. Or Bilbo Baggins putting on the fucking One Ring. Just vanish out of this administration's eyes. But not only that, not only do you go invisible, they will jump on a live fucking grenade and do everything in their power to protect you. So, I don't know, I feel like that Ford worker that called Trump a pedophile protector was really onto something there, because there's a lot of pedophile...
Oh, are you aware of that, Rince? Do you know that story?
I think I heard about it a little, but no, I don't really know about it. What's up? Give me the scoop.
So, there was a Ford factory, right? Okay, so a very common thing in the Rust Belt is for Republicans and any politician to do, like, rallies at automotive plants or, like, towns where there are a lot of automotive plants, because these are areas where you've just got a lot of factory workers and they want really protectionist policies for their jobs. And this is why Republicans like Trump, that's like their bread and butter. They go to these places and they just get cheers and cheers and cheers because they're like, we're going to tariff all the foreign cars and you're going to get paid a lot more because everyone's going to buy American-made cars and you're going to have way more job security. You know, you're not going to lose your jobs to, you're not going to lose your jobs to overseas. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he did one of his tried and true methods of doing a rally at a Ford production plant, and one of the Ford workers in the crowd yelled at him that he's a pedophile, like screamed out from the crowd, pedophile protector at Donald Trump. Then Trump proceeded to flip him off, and like I forget what he said. I think he just said like "fuck you, buddy" or something like that. And that Ford worker has since been fired, unfortunately. But yeah, a lot of discourse about that on Twitter.
Oh, actually, I know why I've heard about that, because remember when you were scrolling through Twitter, you were trying to like find me something, but then the quartering was like, "That's my president. That's my president."
Yeah, that was the Yep. Exactly.
He's fucking retard.
Yeah. His GoFundMe blew up from what I saw. Yeah, that's at least the upside. I think he's raised like almost the same amount as that one lady who called that kid on the playground the N-word.
Protecting going on every single fucking day from this administration. How else can you possibly explain their reluctance to release the Epstein files and how hard they fight to stop it from coming? And since this administration won't do it, then we have to rely on some real heroes amongst us. These fucking clowns, these goddamn freaks that were given the Epstein Phase 1 binders. These online influencers were apparently holding the Epstein files, smiling and giddy, posing like it's the goddamn prom photos with the Epstein files, and since then, crickets. Why don't you guys release the files? You got the binders, right? Since the government won't be transparent, why don't you guys do it? You're supposed to be like fighting for the American people and shit, right? That's what you pretend to do online. You had the Epstein files, apparently. Why don't you just put it out there? It's just food for thought. I don't know. Now,
do you remember when they were doing this? Like before, like right when Trump took office, during the like taking office period, where all these right-wing influencers, they were tweeting like, we have the Epstein files on our desk. This is phase 1 of the Epstein files. It's all here in the binder. The phase 1 of the Epstein files thing was literally just for hype. Nothing new was in there. And then there was the promise of more, and then that promise was obviously never kept. But it was just a big ploy to get like a bunch of right-wing influencers to pretend like the Epstein files were released and they exonerated Trump. But people actually read them and took this seriously and were like, no, this is nothing new.
Yeah. Not surprised.
Of course, you'd have to be on the crack pipe to think any of those frauds actually got the Epstein files. I bet in those binders were just pictures of Trump's butthole just goatseeing or something. They clearly didn't get anything, and they are clearly just staying silent about all of this. I haven't seen any of them come forward with their binders since then, so I'm led to believe that they didn't actually get anything at all, and this was just a photo shoot. That's all. Nothing else. Now, back to the main topic here with the most recent filing where the DOJ is outright taking a victory lap about how untouchable they are and how they're really just not able to be forced to release the Epstein files. Let's dive into what's happened here, the most recent news. Yesterday, the DOJ moved to block the appointment of an independent monitor or special master to oversee the release of Epstein-related records in the Maxwell case, arguing that no federal court has the authority to compel such disclosures. It's 6 pages, and you can look at it yourself if you want to really get into the nitty-gritty of it, which I honestly do recommend because there are some eyebrow-raising statements in there. In a nutshell, though, they are trying every trick in the book to weasel their way out of actually having to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. They're basically arguing that
This is overtly breaking the law, by the way, and of course there is no one to enforce the law against these people because they have decided they are the law, but it is worth noting that the court of public opinion is making its position known right now, and we're seeing that right now with Charlie.
Yeah. No, they're cooked.
They're cooking themselves.
Forced production of the so-called Epstein files amounts to an improper attempt to reopen a concluded criminal case and to create a form of judicial oversight that Congress itself did not authorize. There's a lot to digest in there in only 6 pages. They really give you a lot to fucking suck on, and they're not exactly subtle about it. There's even mentions of the representatives that have led for the passage of this Epstein Files Transparency Act, where they're calling into question, like, if they even had, like, the gusto to do so. At least that's how it reads to me, where they're questioning the standing that they have in order to even do something like this. In the actual filing, it really seems like they just started pissing on them as, like, saying they're not big enough to do this. Like, it felt like the actual filing was like, these guys are fucking nobodies and don't have the standing for it.
This is literally the consequences of when you have an influencer presidency, dude. This is literal influencer politics.
Yeah, I mean, it is just like someone called it a Twitter administration, and it's like the most accurate. It's like like I said, it's just babbling. You know, it's just like incoherent fucking mumbo jumbo. You know what I mean?
They just straight yapping.
Yeah, they are just straight yapping. D1 yappers. That is the whole admin. Is just D1 fucking yappery.
Yep.
But anyway, they asked the court to appoint a special master or independent monitor to compel DOJ compliance with the act, which the DOJ flatly opposes. To go a bit further, they argue that even if the court were inclined to entertain the request, it could not do so constitutionally. This is in regards to some of the things from the Epstein Transparency Act, and they assert that the representatives here they haven't suffered a concrete, particularized injury, and the Epstein Files Transparency Act does not create an individual right to obtain information, unlike the Freedom of Information Act, nor does the act authorize lawmakers or anyone else to sue the DOJ for alleged non-compliance. When I read that, I let out an involuntary noise of disgust, because that's just being very blatant and open about it. Like, yeah, if we don't comply, you can't do anything about it, dork. You fucking dweebs. Go kick.
That's what I said. That was their whole plan was there will be no guardrails to force them to do anything that they don't want to do. Like, the fact is, there's no consequences. Everyone's always like, well, they have to do this. There was an order that said they had to do this. They voted, Congress voted to say this, and they're going to be violating the law if they don't do this. And it's like, well, no, they're not going to do what they're supposed to do. The ball is now in the American people's court. This is not something that's going to fix itself. There are no guardrails that are going to stop Trump from spending the next couple of years doing as much damage as he can manage. All we can do now is learn our lesson and take elections much more seriously. We should have learned this lesson from 2016 to 2020, but apparently now we've got to learn it all over again.
Yeah, I will say this. This is what happens when, you know, you let retards play politics like a fucking sport. You know what I mean? Like it's a sports betting site. You know, this isn't a game. You know, this is people's rights that are being fucked with. Like, and, you know, we can always, you know, joke and, you know, make fun of things, but I mean, it's true, you know, and Zan, you know me, I'm the last person to get all preachy about politics or whatever the fuck. But yeah, dude, yeah, like this is, you know, like I know people that have been affected by this shit. My friend who he never even, like, dude, all my friend does is, like, you know, just get high and chill and play fucking video games with me, right? And even he, like, when Trump was pulling his shit, was like, dude, low key, like, he's got to fucking chill out, dude. Like, he's kind of fucking with my homies, you know what I mean? So it's like, I know people have been affected by this, and this is why, like, you don't do the whole fucking leopards, like, what is it? Like, oh, I thought the leopards wouldn't eat my face. Like, we gotta stop with that bullshit. We gotta stop with the whole, you know, oh, I'm gonna vote to piss the libs off. Like, that whole childish bullshit, all right? We're all Americans, okay? Get over yourself. You're not any better than, like, the rest of us, all right? Let's vote for the best interests in this country, and not, you know, what retards on Twitter want. You know what I mean?
I can already see it happening with Newsom again. Yeah, dude, people are already getting on that, like, let's hate on the potential next Democratic candidate. They literally don't want power. They don't want to win. They want to endlessly critique power and lose forever. We cannot let this type of lefty win. Unfortunately, a lot of the most popular progressive creators are this, and I don't know what we can even do about that. It seems like they've just kind of, you know, monopolized the entire, like, community in a way. And
yeah, they're no, they're like, they are no better than, like, right-wing grifters, in my opinion, because they just let the perpetual cycle, like, keep going and going and going, because they don't have careers. If we win, by the way, guys, I just want to remind you the biggest fucking lefty streamers like spread a bunch of bullshit, like that like have no integrity, right? Not gonna name drop, but I'm sure we all know who we're talking about here. Like or the types of streamer we're talking about here. They literally are out of like a career, and they're out of like their capital if they like actually like motivate for like good change, like getting Newsom in office. And sure, Newsom's not perfect.
Republican
right?
president means more money for leftist content creators, and it's interesting. It is interesting how much these leftist content creators often encourage their supporters not to vote for a Democrat and to just let a Republican win. It's just interesting that they make more money if that scenario happens. It's like, I don't know. I just think
And it's
that's
funny that they
interesting.
preach socialism despite practicing a very malicious capitalist, like overly capitalist thing. That's not even some bullshit I would pull, and I am a capitalist. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. You're
Isn't
more
that funny?
socialist than some particular leftist streamers that will not be too catty to name. We'll vague post. We'll be
vague
annoying
post.
vague posters.
We'll be annoying
All
little
right.
vague posters. We'll be little
All right,
chuds.
let's resume.
Kick rocks, pussy. If we don't comply, you can't sue us or anything. To harken back to Scam Bondi, it really does feel like there are some people above the law. I'm gonna be honest with you. Despite what your tweet is boldly stating, I do think there are some people above the law, Pam, and they might be right under your nose. Again, I'm kind of jumping around here. I recommend reading the whole thing, but in closing, prosecutors maintain that the act provides no cause of action at all where Congress has not explicitly authorized judicial enforcement. Federal courts are barred from inventing one. As the DOJ puts it, courts cannot reach out to award remedies where neither the Constitution nor a statute authorize them. In short, the government's filing makes clear that absent new legislation explicitly authorizing court enforcement, the DOJ believes no court can force it to produce the Epstein files, regardless of public pressure or congressional intent. Real quick, to briefly tie this back to good old Scam Bondi, since she wants to bring up Minnesota.
They're literally just telling us to go fuck ourselves, straight up. Like, you can't make us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, dude, I remember reacting to the, like, live release of, or, like, the live passing, I guess you could say, of, like, the Epstein Transparency Act. And I just knew, I called it on stream, that fuck all was going to come from this, right? Because we already saw what Trump was doing for the past year, power tripping like crazy. But you thought he was actually going to follow a bill that the fucking Democrats passed? Oh, they ain't doing that. And then, I saw, what the fuck was his name? Who's that guy in the fucking idiot that looks like Stephen Colbert? Or Steph, like, you know which one I'm talking about? What's his name? Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson, that fucking asshole. Yeah, that spineless little, like, weasel. All right?
That rat.
Like, yeah, that little dirty fucking Republican rat. All right? That Republican rat. That doesn't roll off the tongue that well. But,
that rat publican.
That rat publican. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. See, this is why Zan's the streamer and I'm the little co-host. But
that's why you're my little chud.
I'm the little chud co-host. I'm the little chud. But yeah, no. Mike Johnson spent the whole fucking, like, I watched him for 30 minutes straight just deflect and deflect and deflect, and I was like, oh yeah, nothing's getting released. With how much deflection, I could already smell it from like a mile away. Like this. I'll be honest with you, it almost bores me a little bit with politics sometimes because I just know what their next move is. I'm like a fucking fucking anime character, right? That's just memorized like the opposing person's like move set, right? Like that's really what it is.
You're a pro gamer. You know all the Dark Souls all the Dark Souls.
Yeah, exactly.
bosses'
I know
moves.
all the boss fights. I know how to like speedrun every heist in GTA with these motherfuckers.
You become too powerful.
Epstein files heist.
Oh, you know they're already planning it as a GTA
I know.
GTA 6 mission for sure. They've got to.
Dude, yeah.
They've absolutely got to.
They have to.
Exactly. All right, let's get back into it.
There's this big thing, this big talking point about comply. Well, why does compliance only apply to American citizens? Why doesn't it apply to the DOJ as well, who is not complying with the law? They are also supposed to be governed by the law, too. According to Pam, no one's above the law, so why aren't they complying with it? They have been routinely violating the protocol set in the law with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. They are not complying with it, and in this most recent filing, they are even openly saying, if we don't comply with it, you can't sue us or anything. They are even saying in their own statement about non-compliance, why would they even be teasing that notion of non-compliance. Why won't they just comply? Why are the administrative authorities not talking about the DOJ's reluctance to comply with the law? I don't know, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Pam, it feels like some people are above the law, doesn't it? I don't know, I'm just getting a whiff of that for some reason. Anyway, that's your most recent Epstein Files update. It's not looking like it's ever actually going to lead to anyone getting arrested in regards to the Epstein client list. Who would have seen that coming? Unthinkable that this administration wouldn't be pursuing action against those evil, fucking heinous villains in the Epstein client list. It's so odd that they wouldn't be transparent in releasing these files. One of the
I love Charlie's totally dog whistling here. His more, political position here, right? Like, we're totally picking up on that. He's kind of signaling where he stands, sort of in general here. You can tell he's based. Yeah. He's based. He's keeping it a little on the DL. He's low Kirkenuanly left leaning.
Yeah.
The main things Trump ran on was
based.
True. About releasing these Epstein files. So many in his supporter base were very excited to see that happen, and now it's not happening, and they're fighting tooth and nail every step of the way over the last year to prevent this from happening. And now, even though there's an actual act, a law put into place that they're supposed to follow to release them, they're still not doing it, and are now even just saying, yeah, maybe we won't. No courts can really make us do that. And if we don't do that, you can't sue us for it either. I feel like anyone should have a big problem with that. I feel like any sane, sensible person should immediately view this as the biggest possible red fucking flag. And it seems to me that that Ford worker that called Trump a pedophile protector to his face, which elicited a finger and fuck you from the big man in charge. It really seems like that pedophile protector nomenclature feels accurate for Trump in this administration, based on all available information here for how hard they don't want these Epstein files to come out. It feels like they're doing a lot of pedophile protecting. That's really about it. So, yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on that, Rince?
Pedo Protector Pam Bondi. That's what I call her. She's Pedo Protector Pam. We love her. Yeah, no, every time I think of Pam Bondi, I think of the South Park episode. You did I don't know if you did a watch party for, or if you showed me personally.
Oh, we definitely did,
every time. Yeah, it's every time she says a sentence, more shit appears on her nose. That's what I think of when I think of Pam Bondi. Genuinely, I don't know what she looks like outside of that, a version of her where she just constantly has fucking shit on her nose. So those are my thoughts.
That's actually just her. South Park just used a real photo of her.
Yeah, she is literally real. She is real.
All right then. You got any closing statements you want to make, or you want to leave it to me, Rince?
I will say that we need to stop being so retarded when it comes to politics. We need to understand, and maybe, I don't know, Zan, you tell me if I'm wrong, but maybe I just have an advanced understanding of this because of my somewhat business expertise. But seriously, we gotta understand risk management and understanding which option fucks us the least. Because I was actually reading the chat as we were doing our whole Newsom bit, and some people were like, "Oh yeah, but he's Trump light." Exactly, that's the point.
He's actually not, though. That's already where the misinformation taking hold, because they haven't heard me or another reasonable progressive figure debunk it yet. So they've fallen for it because they're hearing it everywhere in lefty spaces. They're just repeating it now. And in no way, shape, or form is Gavin Newsom Trump light, unless you want to consider him poking fun at Trump by making fun of his tweet style.
Yeah. Well, let me play devil's advocate here. Let's just say he was Trump light. Why the fuck would I vote for the worst option here? I'll take Trump light, please. Yeah. Give me a Trump light. Give me one. Give me a diet Donald Trump.
Even on that grounds, yes, a Trump light is better than Trump, and you should vote for Trump light. But that's the problem, though, is that we're ceding ground where we shouldn't even have to, because the entire argument, they love to do this. They'll slowly boil the frog on over-exaggerating how not ideal a Democratic candidate is until people actually feel sick to their stomach at the idea of voting for them. You gotta stop it as it begins. It's already begun. You're seeing it already.
Yeah, I am unfortunately watching it again. Just remember, fellas, all right? I will leave that point with this statement. Just remember what we did to Harris. We would have had the first female president, which would have been historic. We would have had, you know, a better economy. We would have had all these great things that Harris had promised. Sure, we could have pressed her on the Israel thing, but we could have done that after she got in office, okay? Just remember that, okay? Remember, when you think, who am I going to vote for? But Newsom this, Newsom that, or whatever the Democratic candidate is, okay? Just remember what Trump's doing, and remember the fucking W that we let fly in the wind, that we let just, like, go down the fucking drain with Harris, okay? Just remember that, chat.
Yep. Don't forget the American Rescue Plan. Don't forget the American Infrastructure Plan, the biggest infrastructure bill in American history. Don't forget about the child tax credit. That right now, that would save a lot of families right now. They'd be getting big payouts for how many children they have, which would help them afford meals and after school care and all sorts of things. Look at Mamdani right now, who, by the way, is being embraced by the Democratic Party as a whole due to how popular he's been and how well his policies have been popping off. Like, clearly the Democratic Party as a whole is seeing more progressive policy like that of Mamdani or AOC as the path for future success. So why are you actively seeing things get better, or maybe you're too doomer to recognize that, while still complaining? Come on. Take the W. Learn to take the W, folks. Anyway. With all that said, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below. Comment down below, Hightail is based. If you want to tell me you watched all the way to the end, that'll be the code word for this video. It also helps a ton when you comment on my videos, so I appreciate it. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you're new and you want to see more from me. And join my fan Discord, the link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.